Hey, hi everyone. Welcome to Primary Market Chatter brought to you by Sunday Investing. This is the second part of December first week IPOs, where we'll be covering four companies, one SME, Neochem, and then three Mainboard, Aequs, Vidya Wires, and Meesho. And I know there is a lot of interest with respect to all three companies. All three are kind of coinciding. They opened today and would be open till the Friday. So we'll be covering all of those. But before we actually get started, just want to highlight a couple of things. One, we are not SEBI registered. हम लोग SEBI registered नहीं है. So none of what we are saying is qualified opinion. Definitely do your own due diligence. आप अपना due diligence करें and उस हिसाब से ही apply करें. Think of this as only as a way to add to your thing, like to know about the fundamentals, and then even adding etc. is up to you. Like we are not qualified and we don't understand your shows. What we do here is that we kind of talk about the companies, what is our IPO strategy, and we kind of align with that. Second thing that I want to highlight, if you're not followed us on YouTube, go ahead and do that as well. We essentially put all of these spaces on our YouTube. So it would be good if you can follow us on YouTube as well. The link is in the pinned comments. We are also on Instagram. I will post that link as well. And what we do is we cover all the companies where we talk to promoters on Instagram as well as on our YouTube. We have been doing quite a few promoter interactions, and thank you so much for sending all the love our way. We did speak with the promoters of Revel Care and with Exatotech, the IPOs for which ended yesterday and day before. Next, we'll be speaking with promoter. We have spoken with promoter of Luxury Time Limited. That would be up hopefully tomorrow as well. So be on the lookout for that as well. In the meanwhile, if there are any questions etc. in the space, go ahead and post them as well. With that, maybe we can get started and cover one SME to start with. Setting it up, the company's name is Neochem Bio Solutions. Incorporated in 2006, companies engaged in the business of manufacturing of specialty performance chemicals used in industries such as textile and garment washing, home and personal care, institutional and industrial cleaners, etc. तो specialty chemical बनाती है company. Chemical sector as such doesn't get a super high PE, but yeah, interesting company है. IPO की बात करूं तो 45 crores का raise है, all of which is a fresh issue. मार्केट कैप 168 करोड़ पे आ रही है, कंपनी 45 करोड़ से रेस कर रही है. FY25 फाइनेंशियल्स की बात करूं तो रेवेन्यू 86 करोड़ का था, पैट 7.75 करोड़ का है. सो 8 का मानू तो 816, ये लगभग किस टाइम पे है? FY25 21 टाइम्स FY25. FY26 का कुछ फिगर होगा, we'll see how it's looking at FY26 and PS कौन से हैं. LM की बात करूं तो LM Wipro Financial Services है, which enjoys a decent repute in the market, decent to good repute. So with that, over to you, Sachin, to talk about Neochem.
Am I audible?
Yep.
All right. So this Neochem, they have a good legacy, around 4 to 5 decades of legacy they have.
Sachin, you are slightly muffled for me. Like, can you be slightly more louder if possible?
Is it better now?
मतलब थोड़ा दूर से आवाज आ रहा है, पास आके बात करो तो शायद बेटर हो जाए.
Better?
Not much.
Let me rejoin if that is possible.
Sure.
नहीं यार, अब कर लो. Like, कम आवाज
अरे
में
नहीं,
सुन
अभी
लेंगे हम
इको भी
आपको.
आ रहा है. आप देखो, इको भी आ रहा है, तो लेट हिम रीजॉइन.
ओके, कर लो. तब तक I know Neochem. Rohit, you had also studied, right? A part of Neochem, some part about it.
Yes, I have. Though I think it's better I share the view after Sachin only. Again, I've not studied it in the sense I can't talk in depth about it. But it does look like an interesting niche company within chemicals. They do, I think, performance chemicals. There are peers. The peers don't trade at very high multiples, but this guy looks good. They've set up a lot of capacity from what I understand. So next 2-3 years capacity is sorted. I think demand also sorted. It looked interesting to me, but I'll share a more specific view maybe once.
Sure. Sachin, I think Sachin is back, yeah.
Is it better now?
Much better. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
So this Neochem, so they have a good history to them. Around way back from 1980, they are operating. Earlier, they were partnership from some Vinayak dyes and chemicals, and now they have slowly transitioned to this Neochem Solutions. So what they do is they operate in this performance chemical space, like providing basic chemicals to some industries and some specialty chemicals as well for various functionalities, fabric softness, some water absorption for towels, etc. Also for paint industries, they are providing some, and some for mining industries as well. They are providing some basic emulsifiers, etc. So all of these are their product that they are supplying in various types of formulations. So earlier they were very much focused into this textile segment before COVID, and after some time of COVID as well, around 2021 to 2022, where they were broadly supplying to this textile segment, and now they have slowly transitioned to this non-textile segment, various other industries, bio-based industries, and some high performance chemical industries as well. Their board of directors also have some decent name. One ex Honeywell, some Mr. D.K. Chopra is also there to assist in the operations. So currently they have 4 segments to all of their products. 43% revenues comes from polymers. Then there are surfactants, then there are silicons, and finally then high margin esters and bio-based solutions. So these are their 4 verticals. Now going by industry wise, 80 to 90% is coming from this textile segment, whereas this home, personal care and high performance chemical specialty chemical segment, that contributes to around 10 to 11% of revenues. The new segments of this paints, coatings, water treatment, construction segment ho gaya, rubber segment ho gaya, dyes and pigments etc., that is contributing to around 4 to 5% of the revenues. They have slowly started to export in various countries as well. Around 12 to 13 countries they are exporting as well. Around 9 to 10% of the revenues comes from exports, and the rest 90% is from domestic. Now in all of the products that they make, they specialize these formulations as per the clients. So around 350-400 formulations they have currently, and they have also registered trademarks for some formulations. Around 40-50 trademarks also are available with them. Coming to their facility, it is around 22,000 metric tons facility. They have expanded it as well during the time of COVID, and before COVID also there were plans for expansion, but after COVID they slowly expanded it as well. And currently the utilization sits at around 40-45% in FY25, and they are looking to target 55 to 60% in this FY26, and slowly they are looking to ramp it up as well. Now their facility also has in-house R&D that is always also available with them, and they also have this zero liquid discharge facility with them for water treatment and termination. Now for some of the products that they are supplying to this export regions, given that export has higher margins, so they have taken some good mandatory license as well. Like there is one license, GOTS 7.2, which is needed for this premium price export products. And there is some license one ZHSC level 3, yes, that's the current pronunciation, for some eco-friendly products as well. So what their business model for all of the products that they do is they have a distributor led business model. 50 to 60 distributors they have in all over India, and around 200 to 300 customers they have in their kitty. Also earlier they used, when in the time of 2021 and 22, they used to white label their products, but now slowly they have made their own brands, and now 70-75% by FY25 comes from their own brands. So the distributor model they have chosen specifically because they do not want to keep higher inventory with them, and also the margins are slightly better for them in this model. Also they said that we have some backward integration as well in some silicons for all of these chemicals, so that helps in these margins as well. And there is less imports from China, because China, we know, that has a good presence in all of the chemicals, so that helps them reduce these imports as well. And now coming to their financials in FY23, they did around 48 CR of revenues with 9% EBITDA. In FY24, the revenues jumped to 62 CR with around 10 to 11% EBITDA. And this was the time that their utilization was slowly ramping up from 20 odd percent to 30, 40%, etc. In FY25, they did 86 CR revenues with near 15% EBITDA and near 9% of PAT. Till this H1 FY26, they have done 47 CR of revenues, and the PAT is now more than 10 to 11%, and EBITDA is also gone higher. So their utilization is one thing that they are saying to for this higher margins. Also, the export that is ramping up slowly. Now they are saying that they are adding around 1 to 2 countries per year, and their share of this silicons and ester, which are the new specialty chemicals that they are producing, that they get higher margins as well as more volume in this. Now, coming to some risk, the shift to this own branded segment, that is leading to this strain in working capital. So cash flow has gone negative. Earlier it was positive, but slowly it is turned negative. Probably why they are using this IPO funds for working capital. Also, 50 to 55% is of their raw material is coming from imports, and likely some part from China as well. So there are forex and geopolitical risks, etc. Also, one thing was they have some related party transactions from one of their subsidiaries where they used to invoice some sales, etc. But they are saying that after this IPO we have stopped that, so that will largely be gone post IPO. Now, coming to IPO usage, 23 CR is for this working capital, and the rest 10 CR is for this repayment of loans, etc. So that should help in interest saving. And they did a pre-IPO in June, July of this year, 25, at around 108 CR of valuations. Invicta fund was there, some Venture X fund was also there, and some other HNIs were also there. Now, the IPO is near 20 times FY25. And this is what they are projecting for FY26 is probably near 14 to 15 times FY26. In peers, we have this Rosari Biotech, which is a much large cap peer, very much diversified as well. And the other peer here is this Indian Emulsifier, which was forgotten for long, but slowly has now came into limelight, given their rights issue and their new capex has come in as well, and their guidance is pretty much strong, around 100 to 150%. They are saying that we will do with better margins than this Neochem. But Indian Emulsifier is opting for a more lean model in this mining and oil field. So that is their main focus, where they make this basic emulsifiers. Unlike this Neochem, which is more into special emulsifiers and which are more application focused. So that is the advantage with Neochem over Indian Emulsifier. Indian Emulsifier trades near 10 to 11 times currently. Lead manager is Vivro, so good to decent record. Anchor list had good names. Mavira was there, Sanchi Fund was there, Venture X was there in Anchor again as well. So now coming to the final thing, I think that this custom formulation that they are making for their customers, so that is one loyalty aspect that is with Neochem. Also, they are doing some R&D as well, so their products are going via R&D, so other players would likely require more approvals, etc. So that is an edge with them as well. Textile heavy it is currently, so that is one risk, but they are slowly pivoting to other segments as well. But it would need time to pivot entirely from textile away. Now, valuations look high, more due to the recent drawdown across SMEs. So that is one thing. But I think that Vivro is there, so issue price seems protected. So probably might apply a few. Let's see. That's all.
Got it. इसका SME का पेयर आपने बताया इंडियन एमएलसीफायर which is at 10-11 times. Mainboard वाला जो आपने बताया रोजरी बायोटेक वो कहाँ ट्रेड करता है?
23-24 times, yeah.
And this boy is coming annualized कितने पे आ रहे हैं?
FY26 शायद around 15 times.
15 times. And there's a question with respect to increased margins. Like, does it feel like, because margins have increased quite a bit, right? FY27 में वो 46 का revenue पे 1 PAT कर रहा था, अभी वो 5 हो गया है PAT. Is it only because of like economies of scale?
Economies of scale plus the product mix shift, like export भी उन्होंने लिया, फिर better margin, this ester etc. as well. So all of these are reflecting from 1 to 2 years. So that is adding to the margins. Also utilization भी बढ़ा है उनका, जो पहले कम था, तो pre-COVID तो और उनका कम ही था, तो post-COVID अब उन्होंने धीरे-धीरे scale up किया. और ओन ब्रांडेड भी लेके आ रहे हैं अपने केमिकल्स. पहले व्हाइट लेवल था, नाउ दे आर गोइंग फॉर ओन ब्रांडेड.
Understood. Thank you. I somehow get less confidence in these chemical specialty companies. I don't understand them well, but maybe Rohit, what is your read?
I'll say a couple of things. I think one is in one of the interviews, he gave a very strong indication for this year. Margins will be maintained, and I think he's strongly said that they'll do 60% in H2. So that's, if you take a similar kind of margin, and if he does 120 crore for this full year, I think I would say the company is actually coming in closer to 11, 12 times this year, not 14, 15. 14, 15 would be if you do a straight average, but at least from what I could glean from the interviews, it's closer to 11, 12. And I think this company is still different from an Indian emulsifiers. So there are two categories. There is regular specialty chemicals, which are slightly more commoditized products, and you have performance chemicals. Performance chemicals have some functionality. That functionality, it could be like, say, if you have a cloth, you have to give a gloss or that softness to the cloth. So performance chemicals are stickier, they're harder to make, and they're also stickier from a customer standpoint. Like an example of a performance chemical is a fragrance that a Sakirome, for example, would make, right? There is a smell that is associated, and once that soap has that smell, it's very difficult to change that, because that soap company will not want to change that smell. So like that, these guys do it for textiles, but it's the same concept. So I think this company is that way different from an Indian emulsifier. Their products are more niche and more specialized, I would say. And it is coming at about 11, 12 times. So there are a bunch of players in the Mainboard that are more appropriate players. Rosari is one, there are 1, 2 more. But they all trade at 25 times only. No one trades above that. So this is not a segment with a very high multiple inherently. But chemical, of course, there's always a risk. It's a very, very cyclical sector. So I still feel that the play here will be if Mr. Sanchi, Mr. Mukul Agarwal decides to come on listing, because they've taken a very large position in the anchor. They've done that only a couple of times before. Both times the company has done very well post-listing, and one of them is Zelio, the famous Zelio that just doesn't fall. So if by chance he decides to come on listing, then sky is the limit. If he doesn't, then I don't think this will list negative. So that's why it's a bet. It's a bet worth taking, I feel.
Understood. Thank you for that. With that, we have covered Neochem. Now that we have an indication towards what we will be doing on Neochem, maybe we'll move forward and talk about the second company. The second company very quickly we'll talk about is Vidya Wires. Setting it up. Before that, अगर आपने कुछ miss किया है तो you can follow us on YouTube and Instagram. The link is in the pinned comments. Vidya Wire की बात करते हैं. Incorporated in 1981. Companies engaged in manufacturing of copper and aluminium wires, which are winding and conductivity products for various industries, including precision engineered wires, copper strips, conductors, bus bars, etc. So, copper aluminium की wires बनाती company, and from my understanding is one of the 5 biggest players in the industry, but we'll understand more. IPO की बात करूं तो 301 crores का IPO है, out of which 274 crores fresh है, 27 crores का OFS है. मार्केट कैप 1106 करोड़ पे आ रही कंपनी, 1106 करोड़ पे 301 का डाइल्यूशन है. FY25 फाइनेंशियल्स की बात करूं तो 1500 करोड़ टाइप का टॉप लाइन किया था, 41 करोड़ का बॉटम लाइन है. ओ वाओ, जस्ट 3% पैट मार्जिन धंधा है. And it's coming at 30 times FY25, FY26 के क्या numbers हैं वो देखने पड़ेंगे, but at least at this level seems expensive, just on this, but we'll see where the PS are. LM की बात करूं तो LM Pentomet Capital है. So over to you, Tanmay, to talk about Vidya Wires.
Is my voice clear?
Yeah.
So, Vidya Wires Limited is engaged in the manufacturing of winding and conductivity products like precision engineered enameled wires, enameled copper rectangular strips, paper insulated copper conductors, copper bus bar, और क्या copper conductors से specialized winding wires, PV ribbon, aluminum paper covered strips. So all these products are somehow related to the power electrical transmission in this sector. The company is India's fourth largest manufacturer with 5.7% market share. Current capacity, the company has 19,680 metric tons per annum capacity, and they're adding in another 18,000 का new plant, so which will take the overall capacity to like somewhat around 37,680, which is like I guess second highest in the industry. Their products are used in energy generation, transmission, electrical. They're also used in motors, clean energy systems, mobility, railways, etc. The company's clients include Adani Wilmar Limited, Atlanta Electricals, Schneider Electrical, Transmos and Rectifiers India Limited, Sujlon, Electrotherm, Luby, Hammond, etc. Uh, Vidya Wires supplies its products in 20 states and union territories, and approx 14 to 15% revenue comes from exports. Uh, अभी इसका मैं आपको एक रेवेन्यू ब्रेकअप दे देता हूँ फ्रॉम डिफरेंट वेरियस सेक्टर्स. पावर एंड ट्रांसमिशन अकाउंट्स फॉर 48%. Your power generation accounts for 10%. Electrical, renewable energy and EVs account for 9.8%. Consumer durable is approx 3%, and auto ka bhi 9.7% type se, EV and auto. So like fairly, good revenue share, distribution among the sectors. Talking on its financials, FY23 the company did a revenue of 1,011 crores with a PAT of 21.5 crores. So 3.5% का EBITDA margin and like 2% का PAT margin. In FY24, the revenue grew by 17.3% to 1186 crores with a PAT of 25.7 crores. The EBITDA margin was at 3.8% and like similar 2.2% का PAT. In FY25, revenue jumped by 25% to 1486 crores and the PAT was 40.9 crores, 4.3% का EBITDA margin and somewhat around 2.8% का PAT margin. In Q1, 412 crores का top line, 12 crores का PAT, 4.5% का EBITDA. So if you just annualize the numbers, which is just like the TTM basis, तो अराउंड 1650 से 1700 करोड़ का टॉप लाइन आता है, विच इज लाइक somewhat around 20% का growth, 15 to 20%, and PAT comes at 50 to 55 crores annualized. Now, IPO is coming at 1106 crore का market cap, which is 27 times FY25 and TTM basis पे exact 20 times 26. इसका peers अगर आप देखो तो Precision Wires है, which is trading at 51 times 25. Ram Ratna Wires is 41 times FY25 and Apar is trading at 45 times. Apar तो अलग लीग का प्लेयर है, तो उससे तो कंपैरिजन नहीं कर सकते, बट स्टिल अदर्स आर ट्रेडिंग एट फेयरली गुड प्रीमियम. नाउ अभी इसका ये 2-3 कंसर्न है, फिर इसका पॉजिटिव्स बता देता हूँ. First I saw was the trade receivables, which was like 87 crores in 23, FY24 में 88 हुआ, but FY25 में 148 हो गया. So I could not understand कि why is the sudden jump, maybe शायद growth के कारण है, but still like trade receivables 80% बढ़ जाना is not very healthy, या फिर ऐसा कुछ रहेगा कि कुछ बिलिंग Q1 में स्पिल ओवर हो गई रहेगी, बट वी नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट इज द रीजन फॉर दिस. वन मोर इज IT डिपार्टमेंट ने इनके ऊपर कुछ नोटिसेस दी थी इन मार्च 2025, तो इसका अभी तक सब कुछ क्लैरिटी आना बाकी है. इट वाज नथिंग मेजर, बट स्टिल IT डिपार्टमेंट का नोटिस है, तो वी नीड टू टेक इट अंडर कंसिडरेशन. एक छोटा सा टैक्स का प्रोसीडिंग चल रहा है 3.6 करोड़ का, विच इज नॉट वेरी लार्ज गिवन द साइज ऑफ द कंपनी, बट स्टिल मटेरियल. बाकी तो ऐसा कुछ खास नहीं है. अच्छी बात तो कि मतलब like talking good things about this company, the segment is like evergreen segment यार. Power related winding wires वगैरह का demand is always there and should increase, like I guess industry is growing at somewhat around 10-11% types, and all the peers, unlisted and listed, all are doing decently well, so segment is good. इसमें एक प्रॉब्लम ये है कि यार कमोडिटी ड्रिवन बिजनेस है, बिकॉज ऑल ऑफ अस नो कि कॉपर का LMU इज ट्रेडिंग एट ऑल टाइम हाई. कॉपर प्राइसेस हैव बीन स्काई रॉकेटिंग, तो क्या आप वो प्राइसिंग पास ऑन कर पा रहे हो, तो क्या आपका डिमांड पे असर पड़ रहा है, क्या डिलेज हो रहे हैं. दैट इज अनदर, लाइक एनी कमोडिटी ड्रिवन वैल्यू एडिशन बिजनेस हैज दिस क्वेश्चंस, एंड इवन Vidya Wires should has to prove it through their numbers. Promoters are very good. बहुत पुराना बिजनेस है, समवॉट होने के 40-50 साल पुराना बिजनेस है. थर्ड जनरेशन इज इनटू बिजनेस ऑलरेडी. Mr. Shyam Sundar Atia has got like 43 years का experience, which is like quite good. So promoter pedigree is good. 100% promoter owned company है, आज तक कोई dilution किया नहीं है. From the IPO proceeds, they are also repaying a significant chunk of debt. वो दे देंगे, और उसके बाद they are putting in capex of like 140 crore का capex है, 120 crores का 100 crores का debt repayment है, 34 का GCP है. Also, the OFS is like 9% of the issue size, which is like quite rare to see. Very like looking at the recent issues. Uh, अच्छी कंपनी है, बट कमोडिटी ड्रिवन है एंड ऐसा नहीं है कि प्राइसिंग इज दैट चीप, मुंह में पानी आने जैसा प्राइसिंग दैट आई विल पुट इन्वेस्टिंग इन मनी. एंड एक और चीज ये भी है ना यार कि ऑफ लेट वी हैव सीन स्मॉल मार्केट कैप कंपनी स्ट्रगलिंग इन इफ दे डोंट हैव एनीथिंग वेरी स्पेशल इन देम, you know, which is like, you know, eminent. We saw many recent like even just Excelsoft did well on listing, बाकी उसके बाद वो भी गिर गया. But if you just look at small market cap companies, majority are struggling. So I feel like I won't be applying. There is nothing wrong with the company. It's a fantastic company. But there is nothing very exciting कि भाई मैं जाके लगा ही दूं. So I don't want to take that risk of listing day in this company, so I won't be applying. But it's a fairly decent company. If it's, you know, shows good price action, it can do surely well. Two another good things are it's so this company is fourth largest in India, जो largest company है, that is your KSH International, जिसका IPO जनवरी में आएगा at a very premium valuation than what Vidya Wires is. शायद उसके वजह से थोड़ा re-rating आ जाए, but that is an if and but, so it is up to you to take that bet or not. And also earlier it was supposed to come at like 1700 to 1800 crore market cap with their wires, but now it is coming at 1100 post money. So due to the market demand and supply, the valuations have also went down. What I know is earlier it was a 450 crore IPO. So like they have tried to keep the things, you know, like they have tried to leave something on the table, but generally when many IPOs come in, people generally forgot the script after a week post listing. So only long-term investors who, like after looking at the price, medium to long-term investors after looking at the price action can evaluate. For listing ins, like even if there are any listing ins, it won't be that big to put a large fund and small sizes allotment भी नहीं मिलेगा. So I'm not going to apply. It's a good company, but not applying.
Got it. एक दो क्वेश्चन है जो आपने पीएस बताए, वो उनका क्या पैट मार्जिन है मोटा मोटा?
सेम है यार, 3% के आसपास.
तो पैट
कुछ का
मार्जिन
तो
तो सेम ही
1.5%
है,
भी है.
मतलब फिर भी
हाँ
इतना
सभी
पी
का
मिलता
सेम
है.
है. हाँ अरे आप देखो सेगमेंट है ना इनका, सेगमेंट बड़ा अच्छा है ना यार. इलेक्ट्रिकल रिलेटेड, दे आर डायरेक्ट यू नो बेनिफिशियरीज ऑफ दिस ऑल इलेक्ट्रिकल ट्रांसमिशन पावर स्टफ, तो उसके कारण दीस गाइस हैव गॉट गुड वैल्यूएशन फ्रॉम 2022.
Got it. Okay. There are Aequs and Meesho as well, which are competing with it. And this is the smallest size with the lowest GMP. So एक बार देखेंगे कैसा होता है subscription. But yeah, that is with respect to Vidya Wires. Maybe with that we'll move forward and talk about the third company. उससे पहले just want to highlight, if you haven't followed this page, please follow it. इसी पे ही अब हम सब spaces वगैरह किए करेंगे. This is the page where you'll get all information. So definitely follow Sunday Investing page. Won't be doing it on my personal page. क्योंकि उसमें मेरा जो व्यूज होते हैं वो बहुत लिमिट कर देता है, क्योंकि मैं लिंक भेजता रहता हूँ बार बार. सो विल बी यूजिंग दिस वन, बट या गो अहेड एंड फॉलो दिस. विद दैट, मूविंग फॉरवर्ड, टॉकिंग अबाउट द थर्ड कंपनी which a lot of people would have been waiting for as well. It's Meesho Ltd. Setting up Meesho, incorporated in 2015. Company operates its e-commerce marketplace under the brand name Meesho, enabling customers to access a wide range of affordable products while offering sellers a low-cost platform to grow their business. सो ई कॉमर्स प्लेटफॉर्म है, एंड ई कॉमर्स के साथ ही लॉजिस्टिक्स का भी प्लेटफॉर्म है. कंपनी टीयर 2, टीयर 3 नहीं, इवन टीयर 4, टीयर 5 सिटीज में, द ट्रू भारत, उधर काफी पॉपुलर है मीशो एज ए ई कॉमर्स प्लेटफॉर्म. बहुत सस्ता प्रोडक्ट्स बेचते हैं फ्रॉम व्हाट आई अंडरस्टैंड. सेटिंग अप द आईपीओ, इट्स 5,400 करोड़ आईपीओ, जिसमें से 4,200 करोड़ फ्रेश है. दैट can, like I can relate that to physics वाला, जिसमें भी most of the raise was fresh. So यहाँ पे भी 80% is fresh, which is good to look at per se. Market cap की बात करूँ तो 50,000 crores market cap पे आ रही है कंपनी. 10% dilution है. FY25 financials की बात करूँ तो revenue 9,900 crores है. Wow. PAT is some minus 4,000 crore if I get it right. Rohit, you'll have to correct me on all of these numbers because these seem very wacky to me. Maybe I've missed something. LM की बात करें तो LM, Kotak, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, Axis and Citi है. So over to you, Rohit, to talk about Meesho.
Hello. Sorry, my unmute button wasn't working, but I hope you guys can hear me now.
Yeah.
So I'll cover Meesho. So this is interesting in many ways because it's probably the first horizontal e-commerce company that is listing in India, and I think this will be a bellwether for the Flipkart IPO, which should come sometime in FY27, and that will be probably 4 or 5 times larger also. So let's see. It'll be very interesting to see how the market reacts to this. So Meesho, I mean, I'm not sure how many of you would have actually used Meesho because this as large as it is, maybe not all of us, especially in urban India, would have used Meesho. But they started out as a reseller platform, saying that on WhatsApp, people are mainly using WhatsApp in these tier 2, tier 3 towns. How can I get more people to shop using WhatsApp? And so they started as a reseller platform where, say these housewives in tier 2, tier 3 India would be able to buy. They would aggregate these. Let's say in Surat, there are a bunch of, say, textile companies there. They'll aggregate those sellers and make it very easy for these resellers to sit at home and see those catalogs and then sell it to their own sort of little network. And that became a very big thing back in 2017, 2018. So the company grew very fast at that point in time, purely as a reseller platform. Then at some point, I think near around COVID time, they kind of hit a wall. And that was induced, I think, just by this reseller platform not scaling. And then in 2021, they took a fairly risky call to become a marketplace, which is, you could say at that time it was competing with the Paytm Mall. It would have been competing with this company ShopClues, eBay, a bunch of companies that were trying this, and none of them really succeeded. Maybe because of COVID, despite COVID, whatever, these guys were able to innovate, and they had a lot of sellers on their platform, and they were able to make this transition from a reseller platform, which is selling to sellers, to actually selling to the end consumer, which is the model that they follow today. Their focus is entirely on value commerce, which is the lowest end of products, which is the cheapest products. Their ASP is typically around 200 rupees or so, which is, like, just as a comparison for Flipkart, that number is not of 3,000 rupees. So it's like chalk and cheese. And these guys operate on a no commission model, though that's that's in my view, that is just it's almost like it's a marketing thing, saying no commission, because they charge for something else in return. Ultimately, the commission is for some cost somewhere, and that cost is still there, which is logistics. But whatever, they say that they're a no commission model, and they only charge for the logistics, and anything else that the seller wants to actively choose, say an advertising, if they want to run ads on the platform or something similar. Meesho today is the largest e-commerce company by shipments and by number of customers, which is a phenomenal feat for something that they started effectively 5 years ago, or 5 or 6 years ago. Like I said, the focus is on this low-cost products. So it's typically apparel, footwear, home products, unlike Amazon and Flipkart, which are all primarily focused on electronics, and principally mobile phones. About 40-45% of Flipkart would just be phones. And then if you add all the other electronics, it'd be 60-65% of the GMV. Here it is literally zero. As I mentioned, the ASP is 200 rupees or so, which means that they focus more on breadth. And the unintuitive thing here is they are trying to decrease the order value and not increase it. So every, if you go on a Swiggy call or an eternal call, you'll always talk about how they're trying to increase the order value to improve their economics. Here it's the opposite. These guys are a platform. They want to reduce the cost so that more people order, because they're going after tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 India, where the cheaper the product is and the lower that value, if it's 199 versus 149, it's easier for somebody to just click the buy button. This company is completely asset light, no warehousing, no logistics. I'll come to that, their logistics revenue bit, but they're a fully asset light, pure platform business. So again, very different. Even if you look at an Amazon or a Flipkart today, as much as they tell you asset light, at the back, through these other sellers, it's actually ultimately Flipkart and Amazon who have built like these huge warehousing systems and logistics systems, and all of that is in-house. Whereas Meesho is genuinely an asset-light model. So how do these guys make money? They make primarily money from logistics. So they charge sellers a logistics fee for the products that they sell. That cost is, say, on an average now, it's about 40-45 rupees to a seller. So 20-25% of the cost of the item would be the logistics cost. And these guys make money by taking a placement fee or a logistics fee. This is also done in two ways. One is about a third of their business comes from third-party logistics, and 2/3 of the business comes from their own logistics platform called Valmo, which is again an asset light. It is just a platform that connects these sellers with highly distributed, fragmented tier 3, 4 logistics players. So there'll be this small guy who maybe does some local deliveries or has some small trucks in some fourth tier town, and they get those guys to do the last mile delivery using whatever spare capacity they have, and they connect all of these fragmented logistics providers onto this Valmo platform. Here the focus is not on speed or quality like how you would expect from a Flipkart if you order, or an Amazon if you order it to come in 1 day, 2 days. Here the simple thing is price. It's okay if the product comes 2 days later, 3 days later, and it's okay because these are 200 rupees products. You can't do that for a 20,000 rupee phone, but for a 200 rupees piece of cloth, it's okay if the product is a bit late as long as it turns up. This platform itself has hit crazy scale in the last few years. They're as big as some of the largest third party platforms. I think they do 1.2 billion transactions a year, which is a crazy number. Apart from Valmo and this whole logistics piece, they also make money from ads. I don't think they've given that breakup of exactly how much is Valmo and logistics and how much is ads. But in an interview, they mentioned that even their ads today, compared to global benchmarks, there's still 3-4x growth possible just to come to that optimum percentage of ad revenue as a percentage of NMV. So a lot of the monetization that they're doing is new. It's principally been this logistics fee, and they're adding more and more types of monetization. Ads is one. So today their numbers are again like crazy. If you just think of it from a scale standpoint, it's incredible that they did about 230 million unique customers placed an order on Meesho in the last year, which is, 15-20% of India's maybe 25% of India's adult population. People on an average order 10 times a year, which again, it sounds like a lot, but interestingly, so I just did a little bit of research on Pinduoduo, which is the largest company in the same value commerce space in China. And in Pinduoduo, that number of 10x a year is actually 200 times a year. The GMV of Meesho today is about $5-6 billion a year. The GMV for Pinduoduo is north of $700 billion. So it just shows that the scale that Meesho is still very small. It's maybe that what I'm talking about is probably a 10-year journey, 10-15-year journey, but it just shows that the market size is likely to be humongous, and there are huge scale players in the exact same model, at least in China, which gives me some comfort that there is a lot of room to grow going ahead. They did about 5,500 crore revenue in H1. They did 9,000 odd crore in all of last year. They grew about 40% year on year, which is 45% year on year, which is great. The market looks at anything north of 25% very favorably. Still negative EBITDA, I think 4-5% EBITDA, 5-6% negative EBITDA on revenue. The PAT number is inflated, or the negative PAT is inflated because they did some restructuring where the company was localized from, I think, Singapore or some other country, and it was brought back to India to list in India. And in that process, I think there was a one-time 2,500, 3,000 crore tax outgo, which is why the tax, the last year's this thing looks very, very high. It's not that bad. I think their EBITDA is about 500-600 crore negative EBITDA, not the 4,000 crore PAT. That was because of a one-time thing. Now, given this is a platform, in my view, monetization is still, there's a lot more ways to monetize. Some will play out, some won't. So ads we've spoken about. I think ads are a very natural one, and I think they'll be able to increase ads a lot more. They're doing things around content commerce, which is very small today, but there's probably some scope there. They're looking at fintech, though here I have my doubts. The segment, both the seller and the buyer, is not very amenable to fintech because the moment you start taking risk, even if they do it through third parties, the risk in the segment is very high. So I think something fintech will probably struggle to scale, which could be giving loans to these sellers or giving some kind of late payment options, BNPL kind of options to the buyers. I'm not sure that will work. But let's see what these guys can do. You have new categories, grocery and so on. And there's one interesting thing where they have their own in-house AI shop where they have set up some AI products for themselves, which they have started selling to others. So that's, it's very tangential, but it's a bit like how Amazon started, selling its AWS, which it built in-house for, to others to use, and that became its cash cow. I don't know. Let's see. That's anyway, not something I'm counting on, but that's something they're doing today. This company is coming at 5.5 times sales, which compared to most other, new age companies is quite reasonable. This is a fairly unique business. The fact that they've been this successful in this when so many others have died itself, is a testament to what they're doing. There's no real competition in this space. Amazon has tried this, Flipkart has tried this, and they've all given up and they've just not been able to scale it. The guys who are doing this dedicatedly have also given up. So they're literally the only one. So it feels a little bit like Urban Company when it came as a one-of-one player in this value commerce ultra low segment. The way Urban Company was one of one in the home services segment. So I think the market will really value that. Very strong anchor book. I think there was a lot of commotion on Twitter on this whole anchor, some fraudulent anchor process and stuff. I mean, I don't have too many details, but definitely a few big FII type anchor names are missing who would have definitely come. But from everything I understand, that is only because of whole SBI taking 25% and has nothing to do with the quality of the company, and everyone wanted to participate in the anchor book. So otherwise, the anchor book is exceptional. And there are some big funds that have already investors in the company that have doubled down in the anchor, have taken a large position in the anchor on top of whatever private positions they have in the private round. So, and there's not a lot of selling from PEVC either. So I mean, for me, all in all, this is a very similar to some of these other, even like a physics wala and stuff. It's a unique business. It's growing very fast. Unproven still in terms of profits, but I think looking at global peers having proven profitability in a very similar model, both in Southeast Asia and in China, I feel that it should happen. Like it's not completely unproven, at least in other countries. And like something like Pinduoduo sits at 25-27% PAT margin. So at some point with some scale that can happen here also. So I am overall quite, I'm definitely positive. This time my job is easier because there is a GMP. So I think everyone will apply anyway. But either way, that doesn't change my view. So for me, this is a strong apply.
Got it. And when was Pinduoduo started?
Pinduoduo probably, I know Pinduoduo went public around 2016, 17, something like that, 17, 18. So probably early 2000s, like late 2000s, 2008, 9, 10, or maybe 11, something like that, in that phase. And today they are like a 700 billion GMV company.
Got it. And like, how do you look at it? Like, why do you think 5.5 is reasonably valued 5.5 times sales?
Because at least in India, new age commerce, nothing trades at less than, with the exception of say FirstCry, which has no growth. Anything that has growth trades at north of 7-8 times sales, whether it's a Nykaa or a Zomato or a Lenskart now that you're seeing, a Physics, like all of these guys trade at
Where
north
is
of
Urban Company?
Urban Companies, like I don't know, 18, 15 times or something.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It's a slight, I think Urban Companies 15 times. Nothing.
And Urban Company also is not promising insane growth, right? Because I'm assuming growth will be
30%.
difficult for Meesho also, right? From here.
Urban Company 17. No, it shouldn't. If you see Meesho's numbers are actually accelerating. 23, 24, some 20 odd percent, then went to 28%. Then this latest half, H1 is 44%. So the growth is actually increasing. So I don't think it should be a problem. Like I said, right? Okay, you have hit 200 odd million people who are using the platform. But the number of times you use the platform is say 8 or 9 times a year. That number, of course, Pinduoduo is an exception. But even in Southeast Asia, there's a company called Shopee, where a person, which is again value commerce, where people shop, I think 40 times a year. So on that platform. So there is a lot of scope just to, they're getting people to shop for the first time. Then they need to get them to shop a second time, third time. As that happens, as more and more people do that, that number will go up. So your repeat itself is enough for you to increase your scale in GMV. So I don't think it's that big a challenge to grow.
One more question, and maybe this is a very first world question. How do you get a product for 200 rupees? उसमें cogs भी करना है, logistics भी करना है, return भी देखना है तुमको, RTO भी देखना है, and COD charges भी pay करने. Because I'm assuming most of the orders would be COD on here. Like it's a very unintuitive model for me. Like I don't understand it.
See, the seller bears everything. the product, let's say he's selling a product for 200 rupees on an average, 200, 240, I'm forgetting this, I think 240 rupees or something. On that, he knows that his cost, this fellow is going to charge him 50 rupees. Meesho is making it work at 50 rupees just because of the sheer scale and the fact that they're able to use a lot of the spare capacity of existing logistics players. 50 rupees is actually not a lot. Like if you see 50 rupees, a lot of courier companies now operate in this 40-50 rupees only, like 50-60 rupees, even for phones and stuff. So it's not like they're that much cheaper. It's just that these products, like say you're selling a sari, it'll be a low quality sari for someone who's only willing to spend 200 rupees for it. You can make a sari for like 50-60 rupees also and still have some value. You can make it for 100 110 rupees, 120 rupees. That's not a problem if you're competing on the quality, or if you're compromising on the quality. But this is for that segment of India who just wants the cheapest product. So you ultimately have to keep some gross margin. The seller makes it for 150 rupees, keeps 20-40 rupees for himself, and then the rest 40 rupees he charges the customer for that logistics, and he sells it for 230-240 rupees. So there are enough SKUs, a lot of small SKUs, knickknacks and stuff like that, which are very light logistically. It's not like you're transporting a TV for 40 rupees. You're still transporting some kind of clothing or footwear or something that is low volume. And at least from the data that they have shared, it looks like it is working.
I have a small concern related to Meesho is I've seen that I guess significant amount of sellers on that platform are non-GST registered people. So I feel some or the other that this is also going to hit them because these guys don't have an option, is what I know, to register the GST number. Opposed, they have got the number. So like some or the other that this is going to hit.
Not sure. I don't know if this was covered by any of the interviewers on any of the.
Because I have seen they don't have any major, taxation related stuff, even in their books or
It is a
even
marketplace. They are not liable for it.
in
The
Flipkart. It
sellers.
is a rule to have a GST number. Here, the majority sellers don't have.
That also there is some size and scale, no? At which point it becomes mandatory. So
So whatever it is, but somewhat or other day it is going to hit the
No,
platform
no.
and not the
So,
seller.
so your revenue needs to be north of 20 lakhs, right, in order to like
yeah,
For
have a
40,
GST number. Maybe because the order value is so small that and there are so many sellers that they would not be doing 20 lakhs worth of revenue a year. Maybe that is one point.
Yeah, but yeah, it doesn't. It is hard to digest. Now that cat a seller on, let's say someone like a Meesho who also has his own business, as doesn't have a 20 lakh plus revenue. Yeah, how much profits is a separate matter, but revenue 20 lakh here nowadays everyone does. Even in a tier 3 it happens.
40 lakhs for manufactured goods only GST registration is needed. If you are including services as well, then the limit is down to 20 lakhs.
Oh, समझ गया मेरे को सर्विसेज का पता था तो 40 lakhs तो फिर ठीक है
it is
maybe.
decent. It is quite difficult to get to 40 lakhs at this point.
Also, Meesho has that one peculiar thing that for the buyers that who are actually buying their products from Meesho, it lets you add margins to your existing buy, and then you can further resell it using that margin, extra margin that you are adding. So वो भी एक option है उसमें Meesho में.
क्या क्या फिर बताओ नहीं समझा.
लाइक से मैं मीशो में कोई प्रोडक्ट खरीद रहा हूँ 100 रुपीज इट्स लिस्टेड ऑन मीशो एंड देन मीशो मुझे उसमें ऑप्शन देता है कि 20 रुपीज या 20% मोर मैं मार्जिन उसमें ऐड कर दूं. देन जो बिल उसमें आता है मीशो के द्वारा विथ अगर मैं उस प्रोडक्ट को आगे किसी को और रीसेल कर रहा हूँ तो मैं 120 पे सेल करूंगा तो वो 20% या उससे कम जो भी है वो मेरा एक एक्स्ट्रा मार्जिन बन जाता है.
Right. I think that's from their reseller routes that they used to be initially, which was essentially this. Maybe they just productized in the product. I'm
ये
not
तो
sure.
बढ़िया पिरामिड स्कीम लग रही है.
It's not
100 का
pyramid.
120 140
It is like not
180.
everyone may use Meesho. No, let's say you use Meesho. You're a power user of Meesho, and that's how all reselling works. You buy from someone, you put your margin, you sell it. And reselling was a big business, and is still a decent sized business in India as a business. So it's just that you are selling it to someone who trusts you, who will come to you if there is some customer problem, doesn't want to rely on Meesho ka customer support, ye wo, and may not even know Meesho. And you have a customer base, so you sell it to them. It's like even they have this content commerce thing also, I think, where they work with influencers on the platform who also take a cut. So again, everywhere see, all of these things are, there is a certain amount of money. You can call it platform fee, convenience fee, logistics fee, whatever. It is all that money that someone is adding some value somewhere and you're paying for that. Whether that is done by reselling or not, I don't think it's such a concern. If it doesn't work, people won't do it. And then they will switch off the feature.
Understood. So let's say it seems like a company where we have to apply. I would.
And also, I'll tell you, I was just going through its numbers and checking. क्या है, तो one thing I can see it very clearly is this company cannot be a adjusted EBITDA positive company till H1 of FY27. So I feel the part to profitability is still like 15 to 18 months far. And generally, we have seen कि after that sudden pop, वो अगर part to profitability अगर नहीं दिख रहा हो, even though if it is growing fast, the market is not very comfortable. Like this is 2024 के time का trend.
Yeah, I mean, even
So we need
Swiggy
to also.
today is severely unprofitable, and you can see that it is.
But that is due to quick commerce, correct? And everyone knows this. इधर ऐसा कुछ ये नहीं है because end of the day, if you just look at the revenue breakup, 55% comes from logistics. So this is also like can be an argument कि actually it is a e-com logistic company than an e-commerce company because platform fee तो इनका zero है.
I don't think anyone will fall for that. That is not at all the right way to look at it. This is purely a platform. Even their logistics is 100% platform. There is no, there is zero. They don't own a single truck or a single warehouse or anything, right? So it is still 100% a platform business. They're calling that fee a logistics fee. That's all. I mean, I could have just called it a platform fee and still charge for logistics. This is more their philosophy of not calling anything a platform fee, saying that they don't want to charge the seller anything to use the platform or the consumer anything to use the platform. Ultimately, everything is the same because no one is subsidizing anyone. It is just the seller is stacking on that 50 rupees and then putting that as a price as 240 instead of 190. So it's all the same thing, but it just optically, the rest of the model, the way it is built, is to just cater to that lowest cost product and selling the lowest cost product with the lowest cost logistics because they don't care about speed, they don't care about quality, they simply care about price. So it's okay if the delivery comes after 7 days, not 2 days. So those are the trade-offs that they have made. But otherwise, this is, I mean, it's Meesho, right? You go to Meesho, it's a brand. It's not like delivery, which like hardly anyone knows and it's just a back-end company. Look at the 230 million people have ordered on Meesho, have logged into the app and ordered. So there is no question that this is not a brand and not a B2C company. It will not be treated as a logistics company for sure. But yes, model is different.
Anything on profitability?
I think it's very silly. They keep talking about free cash flow in the interviews that they are free cash flow positive, which is not obviously the same as PAT positive. You can be free cash flow positive while being PAT negative simply because your cash receivable cycle is like that. And you might be growing fast enough that the cash that you receive upfront from the customer is higher than the cost that you pay because you're growing. So that's a little tricky. If they stop growing and they continue to be PAT negative, the free cash flow will also become negative. So
Because end of the day, when we talk on let's say an urban company or a Lenskart or any you talk on a capillary, we value it more on the future EBITDA numbers and than just a revenue to say sales to market cap, revenue multiple valuation. But when we talk on Meesho, the numbers aren't there because we know कि FY27 में it would be hardly EBITDA positive. So यार isn't this a kind of a gimmick कि FY29 के numbers पे कुछ 50-70 times का crazy valuation लगा के we're looking to invest and market is looking at another 50 premium which would take it to somewhat around FY35 valuation. तो ऐसा नहीं है कुछ?
I don't think it is like that. You can have companies be unprofitable.
So how do you value this company except the revenue multiple?
Yeah, see, it is something that we have to get used to. Not every company needs to be valued on like even an immediate profit, right? It is a belief that this company can scale and this company has a moat and that this company will make money eventually. It may actually not make money for the next 2 years. That doesn't mean that you will give it a zero multiple, that it is negative, so it will be zero. It could be FY28 EBITDA is negative, doesn't mean that suddenly market cap goes from 50,000 to zero, right? So it is not very straightforward. I agree. I mean, I don't have any projections. Sometimes we get these projections. I don't have for Meesho this time. But I think the easiest way is to just look at, do you think this company will survive for the next 10 to 15 years? And are they creating something defining? And are they directionally getting more profitable? At least, like, say, they will say that their marketplace, for example, they'll say the marketplace is now EBITDA 100 crore. And then the 3 new initiatives that they're doing, they'll break down and say that is doing 300 crore burn. But in the future, it will. So then you will value it on marketplace EBITDA and say marketplace can be 1,000 crore EBITDA in 2 years, but the other things will burn, etc. So then people will find sophisticated ways to do that. I don't have specific numbers, so I don't know if it is at 50 times or 70 times.
I'll be very honest, I have the
Okay.
numbers, and what I know is पैट अगले 3 साल 3 फाइनेंशियल मतलब for 28 के 29 में भी नहीं आ रहा. So like when you ask the banker कि what is the thesis to value this company, and I'll be very honest, this is just the second company I know in the whole ecosystem after Paytm which has got no path to profitability. Like it might be after 5 years. I'm not saying it is Paytm. I'm not saying that, but it has got no path. Lenskart had a path, Urban had a path, Capillary had, Ecom had, TBO had, even Ola for that matter had a 28, but it did not work out. Actually, it is also the second company after Paytm, I would say. Ether has got a path to profitability. This might be the third company which has got no path. So, like it's a fantastic company, but it is not that comforting company, I would say. Like कि इसको कूद के डाल दो.
You have to
So
believe
because
that.
profitability, तो me and you me both know this.
Yeah, I agree. It is a little.
पैट तो दूर की बात है, बिड्डा भी नहीं है. एफआई 28 में शायद बिड्डा ना है. आई एम बीइंग लाइक वेरी ऑनेस्ट, एंड इवन numbers show a very small बिड्डा positive 20. I'll share you the numbers after the space is over. But यार 3 साल इन्वेस्टर एट माइनस बिड्डा, लाइक इंडिया में अभी तक तो कोई कंपनी टिक नहीं पाई है. No company has ever done this.
Probably the first result, if the EBITDA gets worse, I agree. But if their EBITDA gets better, even if it doesn't become profitable, if their EBITDA keeps reducing, or if the core EBITDA becomes profitable while the rest of the business EBITDA keeps burning, it's not such a big problem.
Because when you ask to a fund, you ask to the banker, that guy's got no answer to give how to value this company. It is the same during Ola, it is same during the Paytm. I'm not comparing, but we don't have answer to path to profitability. This is like, a very true statement.
It is, I see, I don't deny that. Anyway, I don't understand most of these valuations. I'm not here to decide whether Nika's 60x EBITDA on FY28 is fair or not, right? It doesn't look fair to me. So whether you're profitable or not, if you're generating 100 crore EBITDA and you're a 70,000 crore market cap company, how is that justified? Whether it's 100 crore EBITDA or minus 200 crore, it's all equally bonkers. But that's what the market is doing. So I'm not fighting that. The easiest multiple, especially in the short term, is this. And if you feel if you are genuinely someone who's holding this long term, I think there is a story. A lot of the profitability here will come from new things that they do, which we don't know fully. Logistics, we know, okay, that's their core business. Ads can become much larger. Ads is a very high gross margin business, like an 80-90% gross margin business in any internet company. So if ads scales up by 2 or 3x, the profitability will improve dramatically. Then comes other new initiatives. So we'll have to see how it plays out. I am in it for the short term, for sure. Long term ka dekhte hain. Short term, तो I think पैसा बनेगा.
Nice, good conversation. You two had a chat, but yeah, I would also be applying. We'll see. Seems like a lot of frenzy. This is where I would be putting for sure all my big H&I applications and hoping to get allotment. But yeah, with that, we'll kind of move forward to the third company. Just want to again highlight, अगर आपने ये वाला channel follow नहीं किया है, so go ahead and follow us on Twitter on the Sunday Investing channel. इसी पे ही सब spaces हुआ करेंगे going forward. So you'll get all notifications as well for all spaces and all YouTube videos. I would not be doing it from my personal account. Moving forward, talking about the last company quickly, we are late. Aequs Limited, setting it up, incorporated in 2000. Companies engaged in manufacturing components for engine systems, landing systems, cargo and interiors, structures, assemblies and turning for the aerospace clients. Setting up the IPO, it's a 922 crore IPO. So छोटा ही IPO, 670 crores fresh है. 300 crores का OFS है approximately. 250 crores का. Market cap 8,300 crores का है. So 12% टाइप का डाइल्यूशन है. FY25 फाइनेंशियल्स की बात करूं तो इसका भी रेवेन्यू 950 crores है. So 9 times सेल्स पे आ रहा है. पैट माइनस 102 करोड़ है. और मैं थोड़ा बहुत कहीं तो पढ़ रहा था कि इस कंपनी का कोर सेगमेंट जो है वो ग्रो कर रहा है, लेकिन कंज्यूमर वाला ग्रो नहीं कर रहा है, लेकिन ये रेज कंज्यूमर वाले के लिए कर रहे हैं. कुछ तो कन्वोलेटेड स्टोरी है, वील वांट टू अंडरस्टैंड. एलएम की बात करूं तो एलएम, जेएम, आईएएफएल एंड कोटेक है. सो व्हाट डू तन्मय टू टॉक अबाउट Aequs?
So Aequs Limited is a Bangalore-based precision component manufacturer with fully vertical integrated manufacturing capabilities. The business is primarily into aerospace segment. They've got one more segment, उसके ऊपर थोड़ा बाद में बात करेंगे. Its components are precisely machined parts following in-house procedures of machining, forging, surface treatment, assemblies for global OEMs like Airbus, Boeing, Collins Aerospace, Bombardier, Safran, Spirit Aerosystems, GKN, Mubia, Honeywell, Eaton, and like many other global leading OEMs in the aerospace segment. So, aerospace contributes somewhat around 89% to the revenue, and they've got one more vertical called as consumer, which contributes to 10.8%. So, in this, they have got three small verticals. Then, first is the consumer electrical components, the second is plastics, and third is the cookware. The plastics, they have got like three another sub segment, which is like vehicle toys. There's a thing called as outdoor toys, and there is figurines करके एक third segment है. So there they have got clients like Hasbro, Spin Master, Wonder Chef and Tromantina. तो यहाँ पे ये आपका कंज्यूमर वेयर की भी चीजें बनाते हैं, लाइक पैंस वगैरह हो गए, वो सब बनाते हैं, किचन वेयर एंड ऑल दैट स्टफ. So talking on the IPO size, they are raising 922 crores, out of which 670 crores is a fresh issue, 252 crores is an offer for sale. They have also raised 144 crores का pre-IPO, which was another primary raise. So आपका total समझ लो 814 crores का primary हो गया, इनका 252 का OFS हो गया है. So they are repaying 433 crores का debt and another some part would be going from the pre-IPO. So मोटा मोटी 500 का debt repay कर रहे हैं, 64 crores का capex कर रहे हैं, and inorganic expansion acquisitions plus GCP contributes to 172 crores. So there was a point mentioned कि जो पैसा रेस कर रहे that is going towards consumer, so it is wrong. ये 64 crores another अपने aerospace segment का ही और capex करने के लिए they are spending. Now here you need to understand about the capacity utilization of both the segments. You know, इनका जो aerospace segment that is at somewhat around 75% and it constantly needs capex. कि आप जितना capex करोगे उतना वो growth करता रहेगा, and like historically that segment has grown by 20% CAGR, and asset turn if you look at it is at somewhat around 2 times. So अगर ये अभी let's say 64 का capex कर रहा है, so there will be a visibility of another like 120, 130 crores, 1.9 times asset turn to be specific. अभी और ये भी है कि इनका जो कंज्यूमर इलेक्ट्रिकल का सेगमेंट है that is at somewhat around 22% utilization. So when you blend both this, the capacity utilization comes at somewhat around 45%, which is significantly lower. But standalone aerospace is at somewhat around 75% in 25 and upwards of 80% in H1. So the new capex is happening in the aerospace and not in the consumer electrical. Talking on the financials, FY23 में they did a revenue of 812 crores, 63 crores का EBITDA and a net loss of 109 crores. FY24 they did 965 crores का top line, 18.8% का top line growth, 145 crores का EBITDA and 14.2 crores का net loss, which is like, you know, EBITDA number shot up by like almost double, and PAT जो आपका loss था that dropped by like 90%. In FY24 the revenue degrew by 4% to 925 crores, 108 crores का EBITDA and 102 crores का net loss. So EBITDA margin is also went down in FY25, but if you look at the H1 numbers, 537 crores का top line है, 84 crores का EBITDA है और 17 crore का loss है, which is like 17% का growth. Now talking on the growth number, the management has specifically said कि we intend to grow our aerospace segment at standalone level by 20% for like at least next 5 to 10 years is what they have said on television. So it is looking also ki I guess somewhat around 17-18% aerospace has grown in the H1, and they are intending ki full year 20% plus karenge, and even consumer is growing by that number. If you just look at consumer number in FY25, that had degrowth by like 60%. So that was the reason behind the degrowth in the revenue numbers. But if you look at standalone margins, aerospace is a somewhat around 25% EBITDA business, 22-24% का EBITDA business है, and consumer electrical is at this point in losses. So when you just add up that, the numbers go down, like for 15-17% का EBITDA हो जाता है 25 से घट के. You know, if you just look at 26 numbers extrapolated, which is like TTM plus आपका similar kind of a growth, तो 1150-1200 का top line आएगा, 180 to 200 का EBITDA आएगा, and approx 30 से 50 करोड़ का net loss आएगा. 27 the numbers should go in profitability, but it is not easy to predict at, like I have the numbers, but you know, it is very lame to give. Reason being, it would be required for like for us to listen the management commentary post listing, maybe शायद Q2 का result के आसपास we will be getting that. From there we can derive the 27 का numbers. So now और इसका अगर देखें तो promoters are extremely strong. Mr. Arvind Malagiri, and he is also the promoter of Quest Global, which is a globally renowned precision engineering company, and बहुत अलग level का काम है उसका. It's a Singapore based entity, but now flipping into India in another 3-4 months, और उसका भी Mainboard IPO आएगा at like $4 to $5 billion valuation. It should be a like 6-8 thousand crore IPO. He's also the promoter of that company. And Aequs was, I guess, like very purani, like, you know, earlier it was a demerged entity from Quest. You know, so the promoters are very, very good, solid background, and the capabilities are very sound. Just look at what capabilities these guys have in aerospace or even in the consumer electrical. That is an unmatchable capability, you know. So these guys are one of the, like, by the way, in terms of portfolio, Aequs has largest portfolio in India with 5,000 plus SKUs, and largest you know, product portfolio also, and also the certifications they have, the relationships they have with Boeing and Airbus are also, you know, unmatchable with other precision engineering component players, and also even in the aerospace level players. So very great capabilities, but the doubt comes from the valuations कि आप उसको किस तरीके से देखते हो. Reason being, just look at as an pure play aerospace, you know, player. You can look कि यार 250-300 करोड़ का EBITDA करेगा in like 27, and then you can see कि ठीक है, it is not that expensive, but when you just console the consumer electricals, it doesn't look cheap at all. So I am from that, you know कि मेरे को नहीं समझ आ रहा इसको value कैसे करे, but if you just look at the you know, setup this guy, they have got their own SEZ, special economic zone. They're making one more. They have got very, you know, 3-4 different kind of JVs. One is with Magellan Aerospace for like another plant. Even in cookware, they've got one more JV. So the growth I feel from H2 of this financial year, like I feel honestly, if you look at last 3 years, the growth hasn't been very impressive. यार 15-20% का impressive नहीं कहते हो. Reason being, you have got that great capability. So, but I feel H2 say the number should improve is what the understanding is. Like it can be wrong also. You know, you never know. This is just a discussion. So very good capabilities, solid promoter, solid portfolio. The clientele is one of the finest you can ever read in a engineering company. So like quite excited for this IPO. Anchor book was like, I feel 950 crores का IPO के हिसाब से the finest anchor book I've ever seen. Very, very strong demand for IPO. So I would be surely applying for listing and also a short term frenzy, but क्या लॉन्ग टर्म के लिए मुझे इसको अप्लाई करना है. आई वुड बी लुकिंग एट लाइक Q2 का रिजल्ट वुड बी वेरी क्रिटिकल फॉर मी, एटलीस्ट दैट मैनेजमेंट कमेंट्री एंड कॉन कॉल वुड बी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. सो आई एम नॉट टेकिंग एनी कॉल ऑन द लॉन्ग टर्म, बट yes, it can be a great story for like 3 to 5 years given the capabilities and the, and also one good thing is these guys have got revenue visibility of like 10 years. एरोस्पेस के कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स उतने लंबे होते हैं. So you have got very less companies, especially in this segment, which have got that much visibility. So I feel this would be always be richly valued and very richly valued, like somewhat around 10 times, 15 times revenue. ये always हमेशा ये उसी multiples पे रहेगा. So I would be surely applying, but long term I would be evaluating after a later stage. But overall a fantastic company coming from this segment after a long time.
Understood. This segment in itself is super hot right now, aerospace. I had to write a thread on aerospace as well, on how it's a great segment to be in right now. A lot, because all your MROs are going to be set up in India, because most of your planes are now here. Like the trajectory of increase in planes is insane. Plus, a lot of work from developed countries is moving to India as labor shortage is there, and then these specialized precision engineering components are also being made in India. We are learning more about it. So it's a very good sector to be in. Plus, I was also reading about how now that services would be disrupted by AI. every country will have to rely on manufacturing, and this is one part of manufacturing where we can become very, very good at, and that's something a lot of VCs, etc., are also seeing. So this segment is super hot. I will definitely be applying to this IPO. Meesho or Aequs apply करूंगा, and then I'll see. But that is with respect to my review. Sachin, Rohit, do you guys have anything to add on Aequs?
One question, Tanmay, is are they doing anything about that consumer thing? Because it's clearly a burn business right now. Are they planning to, and they seem to have been scaling it down. Have they said anything in any interview? Are they continuing to scale that down? Are they going to keep it? Are they going to scale it back up? What is going on that side?
They are saying that we intend to scale it up and increase our capacity utilization and then turning it profitable in like H1 of next financial year. So they are looking to scale it up. FY25, the revenues went down by 60, I guess 65% odd. But they're again looking to continue. And what I have seen is even in the consumer electrical business, even after they are loss making, their capabilities are very great. I haven't mentioned this in our IPO review today, but I've read those. They're very great capabilities. So they're looking to increase the share of it. And I guess इनका 2-3 साल का विजन ये था कि 25-75 है 20-80 रहेगा. So still at this point it is 10-11%. So they're intending to increase it up. But that is also going to hurt the margins in short term. This is also true.
Got it. No, so I love this space. I think it is a space where capabilities and long-term moat is insane. There are a lot of companies in, like I've seen a few of these, and a lot of companies in Bangalore that do this kind of precision engineering work for defense aero. Very sticky businesses, very difficult for anyone to do. So it's very difficult to start doing. Once you do it, it is very difficult to stop doing it. So, and like Tanmay was saying, huge contracts, multi-year contracts, huge visibility. Market will always value that. And there is a very strong tailwind of this business coming and moving to India, because these are segments, especially I know these guys do more of consumer, that is commercial airlines, not defense. But even in this defense, so in defense aerospace, so even more, you generally don't want to use Chinese. I mean, most countries are wary of outsourcing to China, so that leaves only India as the option, where there is this labor availability and this skill capability. So it's an amazing sector. So I think this stock will also get richly valued. Just value it on aerospace alone. Look at an Azad, or look at even Unimec and all, which are much smaller, which all trade at 15-20 times sales, and some promise of future profit. I think this company will be no different. So I think there is a lot left on the table here also.
I feel there are not two things in this business. First is the growth. I feel like given the solid capability, the growth hasn't been that great. I feel that can be very good in future, but still at this point at least it is not that. So 17% or 17%, if you look at 3 year CAGR, it is somewhat around 10-12%, which is I feel very poor, to be very honest. Solid capabilities, but there is no growth. And second thing would be how do you value this company? This is another I'm very convinced with this company, very bullish, but how do you value is another similar kind of a question, because it is coming at might be 30 times the EBITDA FY27, and if it gets let's say for example like at 30%, so that valuation should another go 35 times 28, which would be insane. So, and even someone like Azad or Unimec don't trade at that high valuations, but yes, this will also always get premium over those. But how do you value these companies, and what do you feel about this?
The problem with this is that this whole consumer thing, that consumer electronics, which is why I was wondering, is this something they were looking to scale down? Because that is what is hurting it. If you just value their aerospace business and give zero value to the consumer business, just look at that EBITDA and that scale and that growth. That itself, I think, leaves a lot on the table, because I think 90% of the business is aerospace and 25%.
No, that I think, but yeah, end of the day, just to value a business, we cannot do the dissection. I know what you say is completely correct, but it is also wrong from our end to just look at standalone business to value it, because it is hurting the margins and hurting the profitability, and it is true end of the day.
I'll also try and listen and see what they're planning to do with that business. But in my head, I just look at that as zero and just core aerospace business, because that is the segment that I like. And that core aerospace business at that EBITDA has some intrinsic value.
So even at 27, if you just look at core aerospace, I feel it should be somewhat around a 300 crore EBITDA business. And 27.
30 times.
So,
Yeah.
so on eBay, but it is coming at 25 times 27.
Yeah. And
So, like exactly वही number बैठ रहा है is
what
what I
Azad
guess
is at?
bankers ने यही thesis लगाया है. Azad might be at similar, but yeah, the margins are different na, and the orders, the growth is also crazy. They have got a 30% growth for next 5 years, maybe plus above upwards of this. This company should struggle growing at 30% is what I feel. 20% is a fair estimate for this company.
God.
That is growing 30% on a decent sized base with very great profitability. And they've already went live with their 7 times, I guess 7 times capex, correct? So that is another thing, it is getting valued richly.
Been quite some space with all the discussions, and
Yes.
I had said that boys will keep it short. So obviously didn't go that way. But okay, it was a good discussion. I would apply to both Aequs, Meesho, Skip Vidya, Neochem. I still have my doubts. We'll see tomorrow. But most probably apply and then see. But yeah, that is what I am going to do. That is like, but this is in no way a recommendation. You do you. You figure out what works for you. Read the companies, DRHPs, etc., and then take a call basis. That it was fun talking to you guys. I just want to highlight that next week a lot of us are out. Tanmay is out. I'm out. So we don't know whether we'll do the space next week, but we'll try. We'll see how we want to do it. But yeah, just in case we don't do space, we might continue to post about the reviews. So just a heads up. With that, we'll close today's space. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. If you haven't joined, followed this Twitter account of Sunday Investing, go ahead and do that right away. All our spaces, all YouTube videos, etc., would be on this channel only. With that, thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Have a great day ahead. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.